Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Happy Thursday.
Welcome in, y'all. Welcome. If you're joining us, check out our chat. Welcome to our annual Girls Town Hall. Please let us know your name, where you're from, and your favorite karaoke in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. All right, we're right on the dot. I'm going to get us started. Once again, welcome. Welcome to our 5th annual Girls Town Hall. Look over to your chat and please do let us know where you're from, your name, and your favorite karaoke song. Amy Patel has already gotten us started and I love it. We do want it that way. I'm gonna add mine at the end, y'all. I'm so excited for everybody to be here. Awesome, Amy Kane. Hello, Dr. Sarah Miller Fellows. Welcome, Mallory, Leslie. Hello, Brianna. It is so great to see all these names. Well, let me start us off a little bit here and introduce myself. Sorry, it's windy where I am. I am joining you from my home away from home, sunny California. I'm in Los Angeles right now, but normally in my regular spot in Austin. I am so happy to see all of these folks joining us around the table. Again, if you're just joining us, please put your name, where you're from, and your favorite karaoke song in our chat. I am Dr. Ebony Calvo, and I am super proud to be the board chair of Girls Empowerment Network. This is my 2nd year, and it has already been an incredible opening to our new September and fiscal year here at Girls. Tonight, hopefully we will hear all about all the good things going on, all about all of our programs and our results, the impact that this wonderful organization is having in our community. My regular day job is teaching over at the Steve Hicks School of Social Work at the University of Texas at Austin, where I'm a clinical assistant professor and I teach applied practice and field seminar. I am also our integrated behavioral health clinical lead for social work, where I work with Dell Medical Center and many of our other partners in interdisciplinary behavioral health. Again, I'm proud to be board chair at Girls Empowerment Network. I myself started out here in 2007 as an MSW intern, and we have plenty of those folks that are around the table and returning to us as well. So welcome, everybody. I'm so happy that you're here. We are so happy to have you here. I can't wait for everybody to hear about the wonderful things that Girls has been up to. So with that, let me pass it over to our programs team and let them get us started and welcome you all as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Adrienne and Iridia.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to kick us off. We can move on to our next slide. There it is. Okay, cool. This is our Rallycry. So in the beginning of the school year, our team met with community partners from across Texas to identify the needs of our girls. So through those conversations that we had with teachers and counselors, school staff, families, adults at home, we heard a resounding message. And that message was that girls needed a space to reconnect with peers, that they needed to rebuild a community of support and develop a deeper connection with themselves. So we developed this Rallycry as a team to reflect those needs. So here it is: rediscover community and redefine your story. And our team intentionally focused on helping girls build these skills, 6 Cs, through topics like healthy friendships, self-compassion, and we really focused on creating purposeful spaces where youth could bond with one another, practice communication, holding curious conversations, role play conflict resolutions, explore their values, their characteristics, and what makes them unique. This Rallycry, Rediscover Community, Redefine Your Story, was really the guide and our North Star with working with girls throughout the entire year. And we get to share with you some end of the year data that shows just how impactful this focus was. But first, let's get to some exciting numbers to report and to prove our impact. So I'm going to pass it to Aridia.
Thank you, Adrian. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. So before we get into the numbers, I would love for everyone to take a moment to go back down our own memory lane. And if it feels comfortable for you to share, go ahead and type in one word that you would use to describe your school-age self. And I just want to see, I'm just curious. If you could describe yourself in one word back when you were in school. I see sensitive, shy, unsure, energetic, shy, nervous, smart, shy, searching, curious, leader, powerful, responsible, self-conscious, timid, scared, shy. Ooh, love them coming in. Oh my gosh. Reader, focused. I love it. There are so many words that we think of, right, that come to our mind. I know for sure mine was shy. So I'll get back to those in a bit. So thank you so much for sharing. And so this year we continued our flagship program in schools, which is Girl Connect. And we were able to serve 1,484 girls. And so as we know, Girl Connect is a special program because it allows us to build a relationship with a group of girls over the course of an entire semester through weekly programming. And so referring back to what we shared in the chat, right? A lot of those words were similar, right? And so I like to ask that question because some of these feelings may still be used now by our youth, right? And so knowing that we've been able to serve these many girls through Girl Connect, where girls can bond over shared feelings and experiences, is amazing. In fact, 70% of girls said that they can find ways to solve problems with their friends. Back to you, Adrian.
Thank you. So I'm really excited to talk about this next one. This is our Spark Change project. And this is a collaborative project with the Excellence in Advancement Foundation. And this is open to all youth, but it is focusing on young girls of color. And we got to launch our second year of this program. So we were able to work with new peer facilitators. And actually, one of our peer facilitators was actually a former Girl Connect participant. So, you know, we got the Girl Connect to peer facilitator pipeline, like happy to celebrate that. Other things that we did, we had 51 girls. So we were able to serve 51 girls through all of our Spark Change project events, including Spark Change Day. And some of the feedback that we got really focused on girls wanting more opportunities to connect with one another and have conversations. So we did that by adding in more icebreakers and more group activities where they could spend that time with one another. Something that they really valued from last Spark Change Day was learning from really powerful women in the community. So our local advocates were there. We had city council members, we had organizational leaders and founders, and our community partners were so inspiring and sparked such meaningful conversations that really motivated the youth to connect with one another and then in turn figure out ways that they could create change after hearing so much change that was made from these amazing examples. So leads me to two really important points. One, 95% of Spark Change project participants said that they have the skills to advocate for change in their community. So I'm gonna read it again. 95% of Spark Change project participants said that they have the skills to advocate for change in their communities. And then the second one, 90% of our Spark Change project participants said that they belong in spaces of power. And I'm extremely, yes, amen. I'm extremely excited to share those numbers and to share that impact, especially for that this is around our girls of color who are just starting their advocacy journey, and for them to believe in their ability to create change is extremely something to celebrate. And I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you so much. And we can go to the next slide, please. Thank you so much. So we launched a brand new program, which was We Are Girls on the Road, which was inspired by our most popular event, We Are Girls. And so we were able to bring our magic to of our conferences to girls on their school campuses through high impact assemblies across Texas. We brought the energy, we brought the music, we brought the boas, we brought the tutus, we brought the headbands, the dance parties, you name it. And they also brought the energy, right? They were so excited, and you could just see it all across their faces and the way that they were sharing how they felt, right? And so we set out to serve 2,000 girls through We Are Girls on the Road, and we hit our goal by serving 2,105 girls. Not only was this new program impactful for the girls, but it also opened new opportunities to be able to develop even more partnerships. Thank you for that. And we were also we wanted to continue creating that space, right? So that girls have that shared space where they can bond and they can connect with one another, right? And so we had girl workshops while we were also having Girl Connect, while we were having We Are Girls on the Road. And in girl workshops, we were able to serve 346 girls. And then during the summer, we have 2 programs going on, which is camp, and that one is in Central Texas, where we served 112 girls. And here in Houston, we had Pathfinder, where we served 15 girls.
All right, shout out Pathfinder, shout out camp, our summer programming. Okay, so next, across the past 4 years of data, so not just this past year, but the past 4 years, our programs result in significant increases in girls' self-efficacy across all 6 Cs. Let's pause here. If you know a 6C, any 6C, can you put it in the chat? If you know a 6C, or if you know a word that starts with a C and that is appropriate, you just put that in. Let's just see. Let's see what we got. Okay. Yes, we're doing amazing. Coping skills. Bria, fun to see you. Confidence, coping skills, critical thinking, community. Yes, community. Yes, community. Honestly, yes, community. Love to see it. Creativity, confidence. I think we actually got them all. Let me double check. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Okay. Yes, I see connect. I feel like that really goes on with our theme right now with our rally cry. Thank you all for participating. So we did name our 6 Cs, and now I want to show you something in the next slide that is just about our 6 Cs. Woo! Okay, here we go. We have a visual representation of what went on this past year. So our program participants had significant increases in their overall self-efficacy and in our 6 Cs. Our 6 Cs are collaboration, communication, confidence, coping skills, creativity, and critical thinking. Something else that they increased is in their peer bonding. So not only can we say that all the 6 Cs were increased, significant increase, I should add, but we can also say peer bonding. Huge, yeah, huge. And I want to come back to the first thing that I was able to talk with you about, which was our rally cry. So our rally cry was rediscover community, redefine your story. And we set at the beginning of the school year as what girls really needed the most. So to rediscover their community and to redefine their story. And now we see through these evaluation results that we did just that. Girls showed significant increases in communication and in peer bonding. And that's exactly what we hoped for. That's exactly what we planned for. So I'm just extremely excited to share this with you all. And I feel really proud and grateful that the work that we do is so intentional and so dedicated to the youth that we do it for. And feel really proud to share these significant data points. And I just want to take a pause and just celebrate. So you can give me a reaction. You can say how you feel in the chat. If you're feeling tell me how you feel in the chat. If you're feeling pumped, if you're feeling stoked, if you're feeling excited, motivated, inspired, tell me how these data points got you feeling. Yes, just let's go girls, feeling so proud. Thank you, proud, hopeful. Yeah, I think it's really inspiring. Thank you. I'm feeling motivated too. I'm feeling really encouraged. Thank you all so much for letting me highlight all this amazing work we've done. And I'm going to hand it to our mobilizing and community teammates so that they can highlight how our network supported us. So Kaylee, I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Adrienne. And if we can go to the next slide, that would be wonderful. So raise your hand or react with an emoji if you volunteered with Girls Empowerment Network before. Awesome. I'm seeing, okay, yes, Aridia, of course. I'm seeing Patricia, Christine, Madeline, Time. Awesome. So many wonderful people and so many more. So I'm excited to share that there are numerous impactful ways that the community invests in Girls Empowerment Network. So our advocates donated their time, talent, and treasure to support the youth we serve. And in 2021, 2022, our volunteers went above and beyond, y'all. So we had 322 unique volunteers. We had 5,700 volunteer hours, and one volunteer hour is valued at $29.95, according to the Do Good Institute, which means our phenomenal volunteers contributed $170,715 of in-kind donations through sharing their time and talent. Wiggle fingers, y'all. That is an incredible amount of time and talent shared with us. Thank you all so much. We also want to take a moment to highlight a few exemplary volunteers who were nominated by our staff for their outstanding leadership. So first is our Volunteer of the Year, who is a girls volunteer who has been reliable, relatable, and compassionate in their role as a volunteer. This honor went to volunteer Rachel Johansson. Congratulations, Rachel. Our next one is the Emerging Leader of the Year. This is a girls volunteer and advocate under the age of 25 who has shown exemplary leadership during the 2021-2020 school year. And this honor went to Melanie De La Cruz. Congratulations, Melanie. We'd also like to highlight the Philanthropist of the Year, who is a girls advocate who has gone above and beyond to get folks excited about our work and raise dollars to support our program. This honor went to Kimberly Herte. Congratulations, Kimberly. We also have Outstanding New Volunteer, who is a girls volunteer whose engagement with the agency began in 2021 and is out of the gate, stepped up to lead in a phenomenal way. And this honor went to Patricia De Silva. Congratulations, Patricia. And lastly, we have our board member of the year, who you all met at the beginning. So this is a girls board member who has engaged with other board members, staff, and our external partners in leading the organization through meaningful work. And this honor went to Dr. Ebony Calbo. Congratulations, Dr. Calbo. So to read an interview with each of these stellar individuals, please check out the blog link that Brittany, our Director of Community Engagement, is dropping into the chat right now. Thanks again, y'all, for y'all's incredible work. We're also happy to say that volunteers have been involved in numerous in-person and remote and virtual volunteer opportunities, including our relatable role model letters and affirmation bookmarks. In fact, now that we've launched a robust virtual volunteer program, we've engaged folks across the globe and have received relatable role model letters from, get ready, y'all, Pakistan, England, Canada, and Malaysia, just to name a few. So we really are receiving letters from all around the world. It's incredible. We've also intentionally spent time and effort building new relationships with community and corporate partners across the state. And during the 2021-2022 fiscal year, we partnered with several companies to facilitate volunteer engagement events and lead professional development workshops. So if you know of a community organization or corporation that might be interested in partnering with Girls Empowerment Network, please do reach out to our Director of Community Engagement, Brittany, and let her know. And so lastly, of course, we'd be remiss not to take the time to encourage each and every one of you to get involved at Girls Empowerment Network. So volunteers of all ages and experiences are invited to join the Girls Empowerment Network volunteers community, and know you can volunteer once a week, once a month, once a year, really, truly whatever is best for your schedule. And so we know everyone here has a unique perspective, and we'd love for you to get involved. Right now, to get involved, you can sign up for our monthly newsletter, which Brittany is also dropping in the chat right now. So we can't wait for you to join us. And now I will hand it over to the fabulous Brittany.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. Y'all, I'm going to tell you the truth. Amy Kane was originally going to present this. She is our incredible deputy director, and I was asked to step in because she's feeling under the weather. And this is truly helping me fulfill my goal of becoming Amy Kane. So this is a great opportunity for me, and I really appreciate you all spending some time with me, just learning a little bit about the incomparable support we've received from our donors, our advocates, and then also learning a little bit more about our finances. So I just want to begin out the gate by shouting out our amazing donors. So this is a kind of presentation that really highlights in this one slide folks that have stepped up in a really major way and provided over $10,000 per individual organization or person to support girls empowerment at work generally. And I will say, I'm going to go through like the next probably 8 or so slides, and it's going to be a ton of really detailed information. I won't be able to speak to all of it, but we will absolutely send the deck out to you after this town hall is over so that you can run through it and kind of look over anything that interests you further, or that you might want to follow up and have conversations or ask questions to staff about. I also then, after thanking our amazing 10K plus donors, want to now shift our attention and just highlight the unbelievably amazing We Are Girls on the Road sponsors. And so we reached out to a ton of corporate partners who had engaged in igniting the power in girls in the past and asked them if they would come on board to really support our We Are Girls on the Road high impact assemblies. And these are the folks that showed up and stepped up for youth in the community. So I just want to shout out all these amazing folks. We'll go ahead and go to the next slide because I want to take a time to just take a break and acknowledge the strategic partnerships that we have built with other organizations and in community and collaboration with really, really impactful groups across the state of Texas and really across the nation. And so you can see here, we've got some really phenomenal strategic partners that we've been partnering with, many of them for years. I also wanted to have an opportunity to highlight the independent school districts that we partner with, where you will see our programming taking place across the state of Texas. So you can see down there, we have a breakdown of all of the school districts that we hosted at least one program with in our fiscal year 2021-2022. And just to give you some background, the Girls Empowerment Network fiscal year starts on September 1st of every year and wraps up and concludes on August 31st. So you can kind of think it as being in alignment with the school year or the school schedule. So that is a little bit about our strategic partners. I know we've had a lot of our sponsors and donors and partners represented on the call today. So if you were one of those strategic partners or a donor or a sponsor, will you just give us an emoji so that we can just send you some wiggle fingers and thank you really effusively for your work? Beautiful. I love it. Wonderful. So this is when we really get into the weeds, y'all. I am really excited to go over a financial overview of last fiscal year with you all. And I want to start by saying, if you kind of think of all of the revenue types that we get at Girls Empowerment Network, the left-hand column really lists the top 10 entities that were our top sources of support during the past fiscal year. So I want to just take a time for you all to take a look at that so we can acknowledge the amazing work that these entities have done in investing in igniting the power in girls. And then if you can put on your readers or zoom in on the screen, you can look at our budget from the last fiscal year. And there are a couple of things that I want to highlight. The first being, y'all, this was an incredibly successful past fiscal year. If you look at actual versus budget, we had budgeted to get $107 million in revenue. We actually secured $2.2 million in revenue last fiscal year. This is massive. That's the largest amount of revenue that we have generated in one year in the history to date at Girls Empowerment Network. And that is so I think necessary and incredible. And I do want to shout out our development team because this was a huge win on their end. You can also see that for last year's fiscal overview, we had, in terms of expenses, we had budgeted for $1.7 million in expenditures. We only spent 1.6. We are very frugal. We are very fiscally responsible. So we're able to really be intentional about how we spend dollars and make sure that it's impacting the lives of the youth that we serve. So we'll go to the next slide because I want to talk to you about how that kind of snapshot of last year's fiscal year set us up to succeed and to hit some really major milestones. So one that I already mentioned to you was the $2.2 million in revenue raised. And y'all, this is massive. Because we were able to achieve such a large milestone, our now fiscal year, which started September 1st, which is our 22-23 fiscal year, we have actually set our goal to raise $2.3 million in revenue. So we are going to match what we did last year and exceed it because we know we can, and we know the programming is that necessary in the state. As I mentioned, this is the most we've raised in a single year. Prior to last fiscal year, where we raised $2.2 million, the highest we had raised previously was $1.7 million. So that is a pretty big increase. You'll also notice in the previous slide that our grants budget line item overperformed impressively. And you might be wondering why that happened. And that is because we were able to book and receive several multi-year grants that are actually going to be spent down in the next 3 to 5 years, which gives us that stability and that sustainability as an agency. I also just want to highlight the fact that we are growing. We are growing. We are in Central Texas. We're in Houston. We expanded and launched programming in Dallas and San Antonio. People hear me say this all the time, but really our goal is to take over Texas and then the world. We have just decided to start with Texas because it is a big enough place to begin with. So that is something that I think is important to highlight, is we are meeting the needs of youth across the state, and we are going where there is need. The last thing that I want to say is a really important milestone and an area of focus for our agency has been compensation increases and pay equity. So a big project specifically for our management team over the last 2 years was ensuring that we are investing in our staff and compensating our team members equitably. So in September of 2021, we began by increasing compensation for our entry-level positions, which is our specialist position. So you can see the salary band or range right there. That increase occurred 9/1/2022 or 2021. In September 2022, which is this month, we increased our coordinators' compensation to the 50 to 60K salary band. And this was really important for us because if you will look at our staff page, the majority of our staff are coordinators, and these are the folks that are providing direct service to the youth that we work with. And they absolutely deserve to be justly compensated. And so that was a really big priority for us. For our managers and directors and officers, they have experienced a 50% salary increase as of September 1 of this year, and that will be fully increased. You'll see they'll fall in that the band ranges you see below by September 1st of 2023. So we're raising that incrementally so that we can justly compensate our folks, but we can also do it in a really sustainable, smart way. And so the other thing I'd point out in this slide for us is that transparency is a priority for Girls Empowerment Network. And we wanted to prioritize not only sharing this information internally with our staff and in the way that we promote open positions, but we wanted to make sure that you all have this information as well as our advocates, our volunteers, our donors, and our supporters. So thanks for letting me spend a little bit longer on this slide. This was, I think, some very key data and information that our Deputy Director, Amy Kane, wanted to make sure you have. So this is, that's us. Let's talk about this here, y'all. We are currently in fiscal year 2022-2023. If you would have told 14-year-old Brittany she would be an adult woman in 2022, it felt like a million years away. Lo and behold, here we are, y'all. This is what we have budgeted for this fiscal year. So if you take a look, as I mentioned, there are $2.3 million in expenses. We have increased our goal in terms of what we will raise and the money we will bring in at Girls Empowerment Network. And then you might see that 2.3 in terms of expenses and look over in the 2022-23 budget and be like, but Brittany, the income is only a little over 2 million. Don't worry. If you look down at the blue line item, that is those multi-year grants I mentioned to you earlier that are being paid out over the next 3 to 5 years, that actually means that in this fiscal year, if everything goes according to plan, which I am sure that it will, we will actually end up with a net income almost over our budget by nearly $300,000. So once again, making sure that we are sustainable, making sure we have growth that is intentional as we scale. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So as I mentioned, y'all, we're going to all send out some good vibes into the world, because if everything goes according to plan, which we are working tirelessly to ensure that we're able to secure all of these intentional relationships with funders and donors and cities and counties, this is what this year's growth will look like. And these are going to be the goals at Girls Empowerment Network. So as I mentioned, our budget increases is specifically because we are investing in our people. These are the people that serve the youth in this state, and these are the people that have the greatest impact on changing the lives of young girls in Texas. And so we will support this continued substantial growth in our staff by investing not only in existing roles, but we're adding some new people into the mix, y'all. So please share this information with everyone you've ever met so that we can get some stellar candidates in the pipeline. We are going to be hiring in 22-23 a chief program officer, a chief people officer, and a major gifts officer. So if you know anybody who you feel like would really excel in those roles, send them our way, because we would love to have them join the Girls Empowerment Network family. So that is kind of our growth and goals for this upcoming year. The last thing I will point out to you is I want to talk about some of our programmatic goals that are supported by our unbelievable program team. By the end of this fiscal year, which is August 31st, 2023, our goal is to reach 2,000 girls through statewide programming via Girl Connect. We will reach another 2,000 girls via We Are Girls on the Road high impact assemblies. We will reach at least 2,000 parents, volunteers, educators, and other adults who are invested in girls through trainings, professional development, presentation, and engagement opportunities. And lastly, we will continue to hold incredibly inspiring programs for youth, including Camp, Pathfinder, and the Spark Change Project. So if you have anybody in your life that you want to get involved in this, please send them our way. And I hope to see you all as a volunteer at many of these events. So to end the section that Amy beautifully put together, this is a picture of our family. This is our Girls Empowerment Network team right now. We are growing as we speak. We've hired 3 new program coordinators in the last few weeks. We're bringing on 4 work study students this Friday, which is tomorrow. But this is the infrastructure that we have built out to make sure we can do this work. We will have 22 full-time staff, 19 part-time staff, including our work study students and our Spark Change Project student roles, and a placement of 3 available AmeriCorps Vista positions and over 300 volunteers. I will say, when I started in 2011, we were in a portable building on the Ann Richards School campus. There were 7 of us, and we had to run inside to the school to use the restroom often. And so to see the growth that we have had happen, I mean, it's because of you all that this is even possible. And so I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody who's invested us in whatever capacity that has been. It has truly changed our lives, but it has changed the lives of the folks that we serve. And I think it's going to change the landscape of the state in terms of leadership and power and advocacy and promise. So thank you for being part of this. And I would now love to pass it on to the incomparable, brilliant Amy Patel to talk a little bit more about her role as a board member and the DEI work that Girls Empowerment Network is prioritizing.
Thank you, Brittany, and thanks for everyone for joining tonight. My name is Amy Patel, and I serve on the board of directors for Girls Empowerment Network, and this is the start of my 3rd fiscal year serving on the board. But my roots with girls goes back much further than that through various volunteer events. So as we put in the chat, as we've talked about, if you want to get more involved in volunteering, you should. My first ever experience was at a We Are Girls conference years and years and years ago. And so if you have not joined We Are Girls on the Road, figure out how to do that for this next one. I have also had the honor of being a liaison with the DEI committee for this past year, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee. So thank you all for having me on that, and I will continue to serve in that capacity for this fiscal year. The DEI committee's mission is using education, policy, and ongoing evaluation. Girls is creating a network that is diverse, equitable, and inclusive to empower and celebrate all girls. So what I'd like to share with you today is the committee has accomplished a lot. And I've been on the committee only for the past year, but it's existed since 2011. So I'm just going to share with you a few things and accomplishments from the past year, but it's definitely not an exhaustive list in the 3 minutes and 40 seconds that I have left, right? So on the education side, I really want to share that the board self-funded out of our own pockets money for a year-long education on DEI. And this has been extremely valuable experience in order for us to advise and approve motions for the girls that we serve every day by being able to more holistically understand DEI as well as current events and ongoings that are happening in the world today, right? We want to make sure that the board is not completely disconnected from the community we're serving. Otherwise, how are we supposed to advise and make wise decisions and support the staff, right? On another note, in terms of education, there's a gender task force that was put together as part of the DEI committee. So the DEI committee is open to all girls employees. And then there are task force that we use to be able to execute different initiatives and things that are on a volunteer basis, right? So the gender task force, as always, Girls Empowerment Network welcomes youth across the gender spectrum. We center the experiences of girls in grades 3 to 12, including those who are cis, trans, non-binary, and gender expansive. So we recognize that gender is an ever-evolving social construct that's inextricably tied to our mission. As such, our board and staff-led DEI committee maintains this gender task force that's examining our agency's relationship to this concept, and will be making recommendations for how we will proceed in the future. So whether that be changes to our curriculum, to verbiage on our materials, to educating the staff or the board, right? We have a constant pulse on this. So if you have any questions, suggestions, or want to get more involved with the gender task force, you can reach out to the co-chairs, Kaylee Aites or Ida Marie Ramirez, and we can put their email addresses in the chat as well. So moving on from education, policy, how are we using and influencing policy? We have an official translation policy that was implemented this past year. So previous to this policy, folks were stepping outside of their day job if they were bilingual and helping translate things. And what we did was put in place an official policy for translation of curriculum, flyers, materials for our Spanish-speaking families. So we put in place processes and a stipend for our bilingual employees to be able to dedicate time and be compensated for this work, right? And have it done in a timely fashion with processes, so they're not just doing it on top of their day job. I think that's really important and really improves our reach to the communities that we need to reach out to, not just in Central Texas, but all of Texas, and then eventually the world, right, Brittany? So great. So also on the policy front, there's a paid DEI education policy that was implemented. This really allows employees of Girls Empowerment Network to dedicate a certain number of hours for independent DEI education. It enhances our ability to support our girls and is really core to the mission of Girls Empowerment Network. So I really applaud the team for that and also encourage all employees to take advantage of that. On the evaluation front, we have an annual demographic survey to collect not only demographic information, but to collect staff and board member feedback on ongoing initiatives, progress, etc. From the last one, we learned a lot, and we've already changed and implemented things based on that feedback. So thank you all for that. The last thing on the evaluation front that I'd like to mention is Dr. Sarah Miller Fellows. She's our Director of Impact, and she collects, organizes, and publishes a survey of all our ongoing data. It's almost time for that to be published, so keep an eye out in your inboxes for that as well. So I'm sorry I didn't have more time with you, but now I'm very happy to hand it over to our Mental Health Policy Fellow, Anna O'Quinn, who will be providing some upcoming policy updates.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Anna Quinn. I am the current Mental Health Policy Fellow. Apologize if there's a glare behind me. I think the sun knew I was about to speak, so it's trying to give me a little bit of a natural spotlight here. But in addition to returning to schools with Girl Connect, We're Girls on the Road, these really important DEI initiatives, and recruiting our third cohort of the Spark Change Project peer facilitators, we have some really exciting updates on policy and advocacy work. I'm going to start off by reading our policy vision statement, which is on this slide. It says, we center girls' experiences and teach them the skills to speak truth to power. We support policies that promote girls' well-being so that they can thrive in achieving their goals and advocating for a world where girls are unstoppable. Just love that vision statement. And we are really, really unique in this policy space in the ways that we prioritize youth voice, and we see it as an integral part of our work. So this includes supporting the Spark Change Project facilitators and crafting really incredible testimonies, galvanizing our supporters to amplify youth voice, and also using our experience to work with youth today to advocate for policies that will hopefully improve their lives. And you can go to the next slide. As you may or may not know, the Texas legislative session meets every 2 years, and the upcoming 88th legislative session begins or convenes in January. That seems a far ways away, but we're actually only 109 days, or how I like to calculate time is only 16 Mondays away from that launch date. And so we have 4 policy priorities that we're going to really focus on this legislative session. These were intentionally chosen based on conversations with our entire staff and also with the most important issues that were identified by our Spark Change program facilitators and participants. The first is mental health. We know from research that adolescent girls experience higher rates of anxiety and depression in comparison to adolescent boys. And this gender disparity has only increased during the COVID-19 pandemic. And bills we plan to work on around this topic include early intervention, support and treatment, trauma-informed practices, and also school-based mental health services. Next is safe and supportive schools. Schools are a home away from home for many students, and it's also a place where students deserve to feel welcomed, supported, and also safe. And in response to the recent crisis in Uvalde and continued violence we're seeing in schools, we're really committed to continuing to advocate for safe schools. And also, we plan to have a focus on social and emotional learning for students this session. healthy relationships. Many of our staff and school partners really highlighted for us how isolation due to COVID-19 resulted in students needing additional supports in forming both healthy relationships and also healthy friendships. And so we anticipate some of our advocacy work to revolve around this in the prevention of dating and family violence and comprehensive sex education. Last, definitely not least, is equity. We administer all of our programs with focus on equity, and we also know that using an equity lens is really integral to any effective policy making. One statistic that really highlights this, there's 181 Texas legislative members, or there were in the 2021 session. Of those, only 14% were women of color, despite how increasingly diverse Texas is. Almost 68% of Texans aged 19 and younger are non-white. And even though equity is a really, really broad term, we are anticipating responding to policies that may affect and fortunately harm students of color, students that are part of the LGBTQ community, and then also students who have recently immigrated to the US. You can go to the next slide. Last session was really busy. We filed support for 14 bills. We launched 4 calls to action, and we provided public testimony on 17 bills. Vanessa is here, so shout out to Vanessa for doing so much of that work for us. We plan to be really busy again this session as we begin training our next cohort of Spark Change Project facilitators and continuing to expand our advocacy work. But we are really, really going to need all of your help with this. A main focus of ours this session is going to be developing what I'm calling a rapid response team. So this is a group and a team that can respond to calls for testimony, public comments on bills, and emails to legislators. And we really know this session that the power is going to be in numbers, and you can be a part of this team by visiting our newly and beautifully created policy page, which I'm thrilled about. And you can sign up for our advocacy alerts mailing list. So everyone can get their phones out if you want right now and scan the QR code that you see right now, or you can click on the link that Esme is about to send in our chat, and it'll take you to our policy page. And you'll see a red button that reads advocacy and action alerts. That's either at the top or bottom of the page to join that team. Thank you so much. And I am going to pass it over to Mindy.
Ooh, sorry, 1 second. Got to spotlight myself now. Perfect. Great. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much to all of our presenters. Virtual round of applause. Tonight has been so eye-opening, and I don't know about all of you, but it just makes me so proud and excited to be a part of an organization like this. The future is so bright for all of us. So whether you're a veteran or you are just new to the girls empowerment game, strap in, because this is just really an incredible experience, not only for the volunteers and the adults, but of course for the kiddos as well. But hi, who am I? My name is Mindy. I am the chair for Girl Advocacy League. And what is that? So Girl Advocacy League is a giving circle meant to support Girls Empowerment Network. But we are so much more than that. We are a group of strong and empowered women. Many of us volunteer maybe with Connect or for Girls on the Road, whatever that may look like for them. Some of us are purely in Girl Advocacy League to really support the Girls Empowerment Network. And we do that through a variety of ways, like I mentioned, definitely helping in terms of giving. In order to be a part of GAL, you will need to donate $100 per year, or roughly about $10 a month. There are also programs, if you can't meet that amount, no problem, please reach out to the GAL team, either myself or Chelsea, and we can get you connected in that way. We also are very heavily involved with making sure that we are supporting girls in terms of donations and whatnot. So we have a lot of different touch points throughout the year that we are helping to donate, going out and finding sponsors, maybe coordinating with our employers and helping in that way. So it's a lot of fun. But a huge part of GAL is the community. Not only are we giving into these kiddos, but who is feeding into us as women in the workforce, most of us, and just having a community here in Austin and abroad to make sure that we are feeding into ourselves and really understanding what it's like to be a woman in this day and age. So we put on events monthly. Just this past month, we had an event just a couple weeks ago, and then also this coming October, let's see, we have our upcoming book swap. So definitely keep an eye out for that. We've done a ton of different events. We've done kickboxing classes, we've done dance classes, mental health panels. So if you'd like to be a part of GAL, we'd love to have you. Again, just reach out to myself or Chelsea. She is our GAL liaison, and we can definitely get you started and get you into the fray. But also there's a ton of other ways to get involved. We have a QR code here. Please scan it. Take a look at the website. There's so much information on girlsempowermentnetwork.org. And definitely, if you are not already plugged in, please reach out to all of us. We'd be happy to help you. And we really want you to be part of the girls community. We're a little family here and only growing bigger by the day. So for all of you who have joined us tonight, thank you so much. This is, I guess, formally what is the end of the program. But if you'd like to stick around, if you have any questions, if you want to talk to anyone on the leadership team, please stick around. We'd love to answer any questions, or if you just want to chat and hang out, please do. But again, thank you so much for taking time out of your night tonight to learn a little bit more about what we've been doing and what's to come. Again, we're really excited and looking forward to an incredible 22-23 year. Thank you again, everyone, and feel free to stick around if you have any questions.